Hey guys, it's Tim coming at you with another MCU related video, and with Daredevil just having recently come out, I thought why not make a video based around that? Now, for those of you who haven't finished the season yet, this is where I'm going to put in my spoiler warning so that if you haven't seen all the way through the series, you can stop the video now, come back once you've seen it, and pick it up from here. So we all know, especially if you followed us here on the Hybrid Network, that back when this show was first being announced, that they had it stated that Jason Statham was in negotiations to play Bullseye, but for one reason or another backed out of the role in the middle of negotiations. However, even with Bullseye not here, it still feels like the plot of this season was directed in case Bullseye were to be in the season. And what I mean by that is the plot actually seems like it would have worked better and seems like it was made for Bullseye being in the season in case they managed to get him before they started filming. And because he's not there, it makes the season seem somewhat disjointed from one another, especially when you get to the latter third of the series. The way that it ended up being now is that Frank Castle was being framed seemingly by the blacksmith of all of the murders related to the trial, and then the Hand was doing their own unrelated thing in regards to Matt Murdock. And these two things seem entirely unrelated to one another throughout the entirety of the end of the series, to the point that it feels like two completely different plots have started up at the very end. But based off of the events that had happened up to that point, what it seems like it was supposed to happen is that Bullseye was supposed to be the connecting force between these two plot lines. It seems like what was supposed to happen was that Kingpin was supposed to hire Bullseye, whether or not he was related to the Hand is unclear, from prison once he's released Frank Castle to sort of put Daredevil off of his trail so that he'll be looking for Frank Castle, and he can move on with his own plan to get revenge against Matt Murdock and Foggy Nelson. Then, obviously, this would lead up to the confrontation on the roof, where it would be Bullseye fighting against Daredevil and Elektra as opposed to Nobu. And then we get the iconic moment of Bullseye stabbing Elektra through the chest with her sai, and then Daredevil dropping him off of the building to stop him like he did in the comics. And this whole Bullseye thing would have better connected in the final third of the series, the Punisher plot, the Elektra plot, and the Kingpin plot that were all set up and really all went their own separate direction. And the thing is that you can still have all three plots basically end the exact same way that they did, though the Kingpin one would be extended, and it really wouldn't affect anything. But it actually would enhance them, and that's why it feels like Bullseye was supposed to be here originally, but then had to be cut out because they couldn't get Statham, and either they didn't want to recast the role with the public knowledge of Jason Statham backing out of negotiations, so they just decided to leave Bullseye out, or they were hoping that Statham would get back in communication with them and they'd be able to put him back into the series, but they ran out of time to find someone while waiting for that, so they went and got someone from the original series to come back. Because, let's face it, the return of Nobu really didn't amount to anything. He shows back up after being immolated last season with just some neck burning and stating that he can't die without ever explaining why that is. And that potentially could have gone somewhere to explain how they'll eventually revive Elektra, but as it stands right now, Nobu's just invincible for no reason, except he gets killed anyway by Stick, so it was pointless. And with Nobu performing the action, which is basically the most iconic moment for both Bullseye and Elektra in comics this season, there really isn't much for Bullseye to do outside of just being an opponent for Daredevil in future seasons. So really there's no point to bring Bullseye back for any future season, cause his big moment's already been spoiled. But what do you guys think? Am I onto something? Does it feel to anyone else that Bullseye was supposed to be here originally but got cut out at the last minute? Or is this just a sort of fan-wanky theory? Well, let us know in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe, and until next time, this has been Tim from the Hybrid Network, signing out.